Chapter 7. I wrote this book for people just like you, for the remembrance of your time in life on earth. If you are a person and you feel that no one notices you, or your voice is not heard, or you live a life alone, somewhere far away, and where you think no one matters, or you think your life doesn't matter, or that you don't matter, I want you to know that I'm thinking about you today. Maybe you think that you live a life in obscurity, that no one pays attention to you. And I want you to know that you have it backwards. You have to go seek out that attention. No matter how much noise you make and how ugly it looks, don't give up on yourself. First, clean your soul, purify your soul, cleanse your soul. And when you do that, your gifts, talents, and abilities will start to shine, and you will get to know yourself better and better. And then you move forward and offer those gifts and talents in a form of service to others. And I want to help you do that because I've done it myself. I've been there. I know the road. You can take my hand and I will show you. There is a way and a manner toward victory that is more right to effect than other ways. There are shortcuts, but we're not going to go on that route. There are certain paths that lead to death and certain few paths that lead toward life. Lives lived recklessly with careless abandon end up in death. Mental death, emotional death, mental slavery, even though we're alive. Some people wake up from this type of reckless living. Like myself, I was very lucky. And that's how I was actually on a path to a road to death. I could have been killed many times, but this was not my destiny because the wisdom diverted death from me. The wisdom of the universe had compassion on me and extended its hand of help to me. Luckily, I took it. Some never wake up to this reality. I was lucky. I believe that every person is handed the Creator's, the universe hand of help. I implore you, I encourage you, take it. Go to church, read the Bible, be genuine with the Creator of the universe. People self-destruct. They lose their lives. They make decisions that are dangerous. Don't play roulette with your life, your emotional life, your spiritual life, any aspect of your life. Treat with the utmost of care. Why do some individuals not change or just wreck their lives? Because they wreck their lives and their bodies, never changing their mind about how they should live, never acknowledging that I could be hurting myself mentally or physically, to address the pain. Was it because I was lucky, or was it because I believed in who my helper was? Christ, possibly. But remember, I grew up as a Christian, and it didn't work for me until I was late in my 30s, when I genuinely spoke to God like I would a friend. I spoke to God genuinely, asking Him questions that I was uncertain about, confused about, questioning myself in the world, questioning my life. And I've come to learn that my perceptions, my knowledge base was inadequate, was faulty. I have in mind people we see on the streets who seem to have given up all hope. Drug addicts, prostitution, a life of debauchery, who are not able to bring themselves out of their dependencies. And these they are mental slaves to their situations. Some might get out of their destructive lifestyles. And I'm bringing up the idea of living a life which is clearly uncomfortable for many people. They do not want to necessarily live on the street throughout the winter, where they are unmanageable, their emotions and their behavior is unmanageable and unproductive. No one wants to be homeless, carrying their possessions in a few bags in the dead of winter. There is a manner of living which is dangerous for the preservation of one's sanity and soul. And you want to avoid that. You want to avoid going in that direction. The story and legacy of your personal life and preservation is a gift to yourself. It's a lot of work, and for those around you, to those who remember you after you're gone. The fact that you did not give up is of a greatest gift that you can give to yourself and those around you, and a blessing to those around you. You lived your life as only you could, as best as you could, as a living example of your grace and strength and hope to others. No matter how ugly it looked, no matter how much mud you had on your face or on your clothes, you gave it your best. You showed up. This is the greatest gift, again, that you can give to others. They may not know you as you pass by them on the street or as you go by on your bike. They may never know your name, but you know yourself inside, and you know what you are doing for yourself and for others through your life work and calling and commitment to be your very best, and getting to know yourself day by day is a gift to yourself and others. You are a fighter, and you are trying in your own way to maintain your space and place in a life as a life guiding lamp to those around you. It might not be in the midst of You might be in the midst of great pain or going through a divorce or separation. You could be going through unemployment or at some loss in your life, or going through a difficult time in a relationship, or you're ill. Something bad could be going on in your life, yet the situation does not define you. It's just something you're going through. So keep your wits and strength about it. Do what you have to just make it through the day with prayer, reading the Bible, or having support from hopeful people. Share your pain with your family. Don't block them out. Let them know what you're experiencing so they can support you. We don't need to be ashamed of our pain. We can humble ourselves. What you will get out of the experience that you're going through will shape and build your life into a beautiful building that adds significance to you. And this significance will take you through toward your success. Be patient with yourself as you go through. People are to be praised for their tenacity and courage. And those who go through daily obstacles and difficulties are qualities which are admired in each other, in persons. So don't be ashamed of your pain. Rather, find an outlet to share with others. Share your pain in a medium, as we need to openly admit our pain and let others know it's okay to talk about our suffering. It's okay to talk about our pain, and to find an outlet for that pain through art, through books, book writing, through public speaking. Find an outlet. I admire people who have physical limitations yet are able to display a positive attitude and appreciation for life. They live with their limitations and deal with it as best they can, and they have to stay encouraged. They accept their limitations and work with it and around them. I recently met a man who was blind. He had a love for music and was going to university to further his skills. He was out alone. Do we notice that nearly 99% of blind people are alone when we see them? Or accompanied by a work dog? Yet they quietly, literally throw themselves out of their homes and onto the streets and get busy to where they have to go in blind faith. They believe that they will arrive to where they have planned to go and back home again at the end of the day. Can you imagine yourself today leaving your house with your eyes closed and not opening them until you arrive back on your doorstep? But we can live emotionally, spiritually blinded. But we don't need to do this. We can open our eyes to our lives, to our insides, so that we can heal. It's a do or die mentality, and I find the courage and tenacity of blind people tremendous, as they deserve all our admiration and praise and help that we can lavishly place upon them. This is one example of humans with physical limitations that they overcome, who persevere despite their inability to see well. This type of determination is what we need to get us through our days. For many of us who have no physical limitations, we can learn from those whose lives are challenged, even more so than what our lives throws at us, with all our faculties and physical attributes intact. Let's therefore take the time to know our neighbors and those around us who need help, a helping hand, and realize that we are all in this together. We all have limitations, that we are all dealing with our challenges that are specific to us. Let's be considerate of others and their limitations and make room for blunders, errors, imperfections, failures, for suffering. Each person is trying to get by as best that they know possible. Remember that in anguish and perseverance, the world has reaped the most beautiful songs, the most beautiful pieces of art work. In loneliness, created literary masterpieces of work, inspiring millions of people worldwide. So don't despise the low valleys of your life, for eventually you will reap good results. Realistically, our mode of thinking today expects things done instantly, quickly, right away. We expect things to appear suddenly without effort, and we know that this does not make sense. Anything worthwhile, again, a piece of work, written work or song, took time and the efforts and the corrections of others to create. So don't fall prey to these notions of instant success, instant paper, a school paper that is created. That is the farthest thing from the truth. This is not fair to yourself or others. For example, no one became an instant success as a race car driver overnight. Any famous established race car driver will share with you the years and years of hardship, defeat, and challenges they faced as they persisted in their goal through their love of race car driving. It is not fair to say other people have all the breaks and ease and things just come to them easily without effort. We all have difficulties and challenges, and each of us can attest to this fact if you only ask a person what they went through to attain and achieve their goals. I think that the steps and procedures I took to be considered as an RCMP officer, the process was lengthy, challenging, and probably the hardest thing that I have done so far in my personal career. I remember how filling the application sheets were detailed, and it asked me to go back 10 years of my life and to write down where I had lived in the past 10 years for background checks. It made me go back in my life and think about just my evolvement as a person. The employer wanted to know what I've done and where I have been. And it took years for me to build a portfolio that would make me stand out from all the thousands and thousands of other competitors and job applicants. My dream and goal took effort. determination, reflection, and guts. And I got to the point when I was running, for example, 5 kilometers in just 17 minutes. I did not do this overnight, but it took years of sacrifice and training. I employed 2 professionals who made me better and who gave me their time and effort for me to succeed. So I have them to thank for making me better and faster. I acquired 5 driving classes. I did not acquire 5 driving classes in a short time, but this endeavor took many years to attain through exams, physical and written tests to effect, let alone the costs associated with the permit class, which ranged in the thousands. Discipline and its value. Discipline in itself is a tremendous value. It's to say that a dream comes with much effort, toil, and that you still may not get what you want, or you might not get everything that you set out to achieve. You take a risk and the outcome may be disappointing ultimately. But when disappointment comes, as it did for me, where the RCMP decided to close my file and have me re-attempt a 3rd time, I took the rejection personally and was offended that they did not acknowledge my efforts, sweat and tears, that they did not realize all that I did. And I thought that they should. In retrospect, the organization is to be thanked because in pursuing the goal to be the officer, this spurred me to change my life and to show me that I needed to put more effort to attaining a goal. Remember, I was this person looking for a purpose, a vision, and that is exactly what I got. I did receive the fruits of my effort. It was going to come rather through what I did wrong and not for anything I did right. I was going to be strengthened and fortified, but not in the way that I thought. It was the culmination of my past journeys which ushered me into my present identity, making me incrementally successful. The 10 years in preparation to become an officer made me who I am today. Because of my application process and the desire to be an officer, I returned to the university to stack more chips in my favor. Had I not had the dream, I would not have gone through university or acquired a graduate degree. Had it not been for my desire to be an officer, I would have not gotten in the greatest shape of my life. Had it not been for the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, I would not have bothered to get my teeth in perfect shape, to the point of getting braces, to the point of fixing every tooth in my mouth so that I would have a nice smile. Had it not been for the organization, I would not have prayed so many prayers for God's help. Had I not embarked on this journey, I would not have experienced all the times God met me and helped me and stood by my side. Had I not embarked on this dream, I would not have met the men and women during my training. All that I had acquired and learned, the most precious was that I can do anything I need to do with my hand in Christ's. The world is far from perfect, as we can tell and see, but I'm glad that I am a disciplined person who does not mind fixing her bed in the morning. Because being disciplined will save you as it saved me. Because of discipline, I stayed out of debt. I did not spend more money than I earned. Because of discipline, I stayed away from people in my life who would sidetrack me from my goals. Because of discipline, I sought out my only experience that would keep me moving toward my dream. Yet in acquiring these steps toward my goals, I too accumulated good habits that I can use and keep for the rest of my life. Good habits that I can transfer toward my next goal and dream. Discipline today is considered like a 4-letter word. No one likes it. In an increasingly let loose and liberated society, I'm sorry to say that the same rules apply. Success and goals are attained and achieved through discipline and through an ordered and structured lifestyle. If you examine the lifestyles of any person who has achieved or done anything worthwhile, you will see a structured and highly disciplined individual. This does not have to be a bad thing, as discipline, in my opinion, is soul beauty seen outwardly and enjoyed by those interacting with us. It's so beauty seen outwardly, but inwardly there was a work that had to be affected. The grace and poise we see in a diver who plunges into the deep waters, a deep pool at an Olympic event, is displaying years and years of discipline and sacrifice, and all the people behind her or him who made her successful. I want to get across that instant success is a lie. This instant mentality we think we can have is an illusion that keeps us stuck and at a low place in our lives. So get started. Yes, you can't even have instant pudding because somewhere in a factory, someone stayed up all night to make sure the mix was perfect before pouring it into your pudding cup that you're holding. The right recipe had to be had, the right ingredients. And that took who knows how long. Anything worth achieving took effort, time, and patience behind the scenes. And you want to get behind the scene of your life. Take the time, the patience, and the effort to get your soul all right before you produce beautiful works of art, beautiful literary works, before you produce your life work for all to enjoy. Think of all the hands, efforts, and people involved in the small and big successes we see today. So start something and stick with it until you're finished. Discipline will see us through to a desired goal achieved. For example, it's not good to curse or hate anyone who has painstakingly sacrificed and made enormous efforts to attain a goal. It's not right to criticize our parents who gave us birth, who made us, who cleaned our diapers, who provided for us, and then be disrespectful toward them. And if you find your parents don't have the knowledge base that you're looking for, when you're old enough, go out and seek it. And always love your family. Always be there for your family. Love them fully. We tend to be jealous or envious of others who have attained a level or have something that we wish to have without having made any effort to get it. We lust after things, knowing that lusting is taking away energy that we should be using internally to lift ourselves up to where we want to be and go. It is not nice to hate a person because they have a nice home, nice clothes, or they're driving a nice car we want, or have a position that we want. We have to do our work. We show respect and admiration to one another. We show respect and admiration to those who have achieved their dreams and goals we would like to achieve ourselves, and to show a good attitude to others who have what we want. And remember that your day is coming when you will have your dreams fulfilled. How ugly would it be that after you had worked very hard to reach your goals, have someone ask you just something that's inappropriate? Like, did you sell drugs to buy your Ferrari when you worked very hard to pay for it? Or someone says to you, did you sleep with someone to get your position? This is a highly inappropriate comment to make. Give respect and honor to those who have finally received what they have worked for, and eventually your turn will come up as well. Let me give you another example. I spent quite a bit of time in the law faculty at school, at my university. Law students study many books, memorizing great amounts of material throughout their careers as students. Finally, after many years, they are invited to pass the bar. It's the student who takes the exam and passes who then is accepted into the bar. Therefore, he or she will reap all the benefits and consequences of their effort throughout her career or his career because of the attainment of their goal. Many sacrifices were made throughout their career as students. Many good decisions had to be made so that step by step, they would see themselves at the point where they needed to be incrementally in line to succeed. They had to make these incremental decisions and place themselves in line for success. When we look at persons today who are successful, we see them in their nice clothes, living fancy lives or driving fancy cars, and wonder about them and how they got there. Bless them instead of cursing them. And then when it's your turn to shine and enjoy the fruits of your labors, you as well will receive every joy when you finally arrive. Make friends and acquaintances with those who have arrived and learn from them as much as time allows. Make friends with those who have already achieved the success that you're aspiring toward in making the journey sweeter. This is a recipe for disaster and disappointment. Leaving yourself opened as an attitude that may get defeated and crushed and deter you from your small or large daily goals. So many things come up in a day that if one is not set to keep a good attitude, one may allow small or bigger and bigger defeats to have one abandon their dreams and goals altogether. Having a good attitude can make the difference between your goals and dreams achieved or not. To have a good day, to be successful, to have successful days, one is required to start their day right. This is the single most important thing you can do each day. When you wake up, to check, do a mental check on what you are thinking and how you're going to start your day. I will show you how to do this. Life and persons are complex, having many factors coming into play toward their successful day. And this is one of the pieces of the puzzle that cannot be ignored or passed over. Our attitudes is the single most important factor, and the one thing that we have complete control over every second of our lives and over every situation that happens to us. We are the originators, the drivers of our minds, our thoughts, and our directions, and they should never be left to reckless abandon. Our minds are as an open field of reception, which should be directed consciously, initiate and force its path and trajectory correctly and all right. So we have to consciously force it on a correct path towards success. Have a good attitude before you go to bed at night. Iron out your troubles and hurts or arguments before getting into bed. Make peace with everyone so you don't wake up angry or fester over a problem that you had the night before. Iron out your differences with your partner, your marriage partner, so that when you wake, you do not spend another day in an angry undercurrent of tense animosity and frustration. Being open and honest is the best policy in the home or at the office. Iron out your differences with your co-workers before leaving the office. This is why it's so important to be balanced and even-keeled, so that one way or another you're not at a point where it takes that much effort to go back to the middle, where you can make decisions, where you can say you're sorry, where you can make amends. Try to say something to show your willingness to forgive and to be forgiving by acknowledging our humanity, that we do all slip from time to time. Go by their desk and attempt to be personal and human. Get it over with, or it will fester and blow into a long and pointless situation, which will suck everyone's energy needlessly. These things happen and we get trapped into it. So remember, stay even-keeled, stay in the middle. Now back to getting to bed on time. Bedtime is not the time to be watching long hours of television or spending countless hours online or playing video games for 15 hours straight, which stimulates the mind, eyes, and heart. No, you're saying watching television actually puts me to sleep, or playing video games relaxes me. Yet the body and the mind is not rested. It's just a short sleep, or you're in a deprived, tired mode. You can still wake up tired and whipped, though you fell asleep with the television set on, curled up on the couch like a beach ball. On the same token, don't spend hours before going to bed on the internet. The internet or the monitor screens gives us radiation to the mind, and the mind swirls and is inundated with pictures, images, and information that puts the mind in overdrive, robbing you of needed rest and tranquility and peace that you require for the next day's activities. So too many dreams and goals get wiped out because of the lifestyle that is robbing one of one's mind and ability to think or to be healthy and to be mentally clear enough toward achieving something new and something more productive. Why? Because your mind is away on the internet, away with the latest television shows or celebrities, or trapped in some video game where you are the virtual hero. Yet you have trouble being a hero for your very own life. Our minds are becoming objects controlled by outer mediums, and we should be very cautious and wary of this. Therefore, do not despise the days of small things that one does well, thinking that it's not going to make a difference, but it is making a difference in your personal life and other people watching you that they can emulate by the example that you set. It all makes a difference in the long run for your big picture, as I said earlier. There was a time when people were concerned with their behavior and the behaviors of those of others, where we easily related to their sentiments and feelings. Today, less and less people seem to care about what others think or feel. And I would like to see a return to the concern for others and awareness for what others think about our actions and our behavior and our attitudes. Our attitudes, actions, and behaviors should promote happiness and social cohesion rather than the opposite is true for the most part. Chapter 8. Today we no longer wish to deal with consequences of our poor choices. We do not wish to address the white elephants in the room. We live blinded and shaded from the consequences of our actions. We have our reasons, we say. Our words, mental or spoken out loud, through actions have direct repercussions, clearly affecting us and those around us. Or we know this all too well when we are left to pay for a price which others have done and then have to repair the wrong or damage done by others. The reality is that we are all in this together. A bad attitude, a bad disposition is not changed overnight. It requires years of dismantling and tearing down, but this is a work that is done within each and every one of us. This should not be left for our parents to do. It should be not left for the police officer to do. It should be not left for the courts to do. It should not be left for our teachers to do. Yes, we need help. Yes, we need encouragement. Yes, we need mentoring and coaching. But ultimately, the work has to be done within ourselves, within our hearts, within our minds as human beings. Our idiosyncrasies need to be examined and purged, especially if they are incorrect. They need to be purged from our minds before they cause irreparable permanent damage to our psyche, before they cause irreparable damages in our marriages, in our relationships, in our health, in our bodies. Address them today. We must be experts at dealing with our inner demons by sitting with ourselves and mitigating the damage and pain we cause to ourselves and others in the process. But how is this affected? We do not want to arrive at a point in our lives where it is long overdue. We don't want to come to a point where we find ourselves in prison, where we find ourselves in a rage, where we have done something that is so completely antisocial that now that we are incarcerated. You don't want to get to that point where others now suffer deeply because of your mistakes, your idiosyncrasies, and your personal problems. And I include myself in that, unaddressed. I should not make people suffer because of my ignorance, my stupidity, my lack of understanding. I need to teach myself. I need to learn how to behave, learn how to think. I need to address my problems. I need to address the things that I do in my life that are not serving me, that is destroying my health, that is destroying my mental abilities. Think of the father who is an alcoholic, who instead of addressing the pain in his life, drinks excessively and then beats his children and his wife. Is not addressing his problem correctly. Think about the abusive mother who is verbally abusive, who's bullying and bullying her children constantly out of frustration. She is not addressing the problem properly. Think of the school bully who is acting out of pride and targeting innocent children. He is not addressing his problem correctly by doing wrong. Or the constant masturbator who wants to change but cannot stop because he doesn't know how to, and the problem has become bigger than his ability to change, and he's trapped emotionally. Mental grasping. We need to find our happiness and work toward a healthy and thriving us. But before we get there, there's a lot of work that needs to be done. The cleansing of our soul, the purging of all the things that no longer work for us. The habits, the debilitating habits, requires this mental grasping. This does not come easily to us. We need to find the right tools to help us face ourselves. It's like taking a mirror to our face, but only seeing the outer shell and image of our face. But that mirror cannot see in our soul where the problem is stemming from, does not see into our mind. And this then can be affected through mental grasping. We need this wash, this tonic, to cleanse our mind of erroneous habits and concepts that actually are poisoning our mind and poisoning our bodies. The mental grasping is not an easy feat done alone. Humans are not in the habit of grasping within themselves as much as we should be. We too often avoid this at all cost, and it is very unpleasant to grasp our inner selves churning. But this book will help you do that. These conversations that we're having and the words that I'm choosing and sharing with you are going to be helping you open your mind to getting to the root of your problem and to change. If we're coming from a bad place or a bad start in life and faced with having to relearn our disposition, know that you are in the majority. Most of us have been mistreated and abused in life with no one who asks us what happened back then, or not even remembering what took place long ago. But we remember. We know how we were treated. People go on with their lives, but it sticks with us. It left a marker and severe pain in our lives that needs to be addressed. Little, take interest in our self-development, in our success, and sometimes the very people closest to us know us the least. Countless persons starting life on a bad footing, many coming from a disfavored place, a place of unpleasantness, such a place of demise and shame and embarrassment to even mention or remunerate. Today, if this describes you, slip up your hand. Put your hand up high. Don't despair. Don't be ashamed. It's okay. We all have our stories. We all have our skeletons in the closet. There is hope for you today. There is change available to you, starting right now. I wrote this book for you. My life is a living testimony of all that you're going through. And there can be a yellow brick road ending for your life, and I'm a living testimony of this. Let's begin with these simple truths. Everyone struggles. Struggle is a part of life, and without it, we might not become all that we were meant to be. We need information and guidance and direction, but too often, by the time that we're ready for it, there's no one around who we would want to help us. Those that we do want to help us might not be available, might not be willing to speak into our lives, and we're left alone, as certainly was my case. I didn't want the help of my parents then. I wanted to figure things out on my own. And I asked the universe for help, but this time in a very sincere and concrete way. I didn't ask for the help and guidance from a God that I knew as a child, that I knew going through church with my parents. It was a very different God that I became to know. I called out to the spirit of the universe in desperation, believing that it was there hearing me. And it proved to be a source of comfort. It proved to be a source of miracles. It proved to be a source of healing for me because I depended on it. In conjunction with this desire to know the voice of the universe that created the world, I decided to believe that since it made me, that I could trust it. I could trust what I was hearing. In conjunction with reading the Bible, God's Spirit, the Creator's Spirit, as I read the words, illuminated my mind to nuggets of truth that helped me along my journey. So we can ask for help and guidance. The problem with asking a therapist, asking a person, is that you will get a limited vision of the perspective in your life. Yes, you get help, you get advice, they give you some resources, but ultimately it's you yourself who is healing at your pace and understanding. This all takes time, and we should be invested in our personal growth, our personal health, and our personal sanity. This should not be given up to someone else to do. In our society, in Western society, more and more, we give up our right, our minds, to the doctors, to the therapists. Can they make decisions for you? Should they be making your ultimate decisions that you should be making, is my question, that I should be making? Our lives do not change instantly, unless, of course, you change your mind instantly, as quickly as it was made up. We can instantly make a decision to have that last piece of cheesecake because we don't want it to spoil. That's done instantly. Hopefully we can make these instant decisions against doing things that would further harm us to a point of no return. And to make a resolved decision from the situation, to stick to the decision that we made that will benefit us in the future, but that we cannot see that future immediately. We need help in having this arsenal of foundational truths and blocks that hold us in position as we are healing, as our mind is catching up with what is the right thing to do, propelling us along safely and assuredly toward this idea of a self-developed and happy person that is yourself. Life has rules, and I will share these rules with you in this book. We often make the mistake of confusing happiness or confuse success with money, and realize that you can have all the money in the world and still be at square one. It's better to have that basis, that foundational rock to stand on, and then from there move toward wealth, move toward riches, move toward happiness, fulfillment. Because without discipline, adhering to the rules of life and guiding your decisions, riches, wealth really are byproducts of good decision making. And through discipline, discipline is key. First, one must get their internal life straightened out and in unison with the direction of the universe's mindset. Happiness is using your gifts, talents, and abilities in the service of humankind. Happiness is being healthy physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, and keeping yourself there. But how are you kept there? You're kept there with a prescribed notion and checklist of things that you will do and things you will not do. Boundaries. We search, seek out, trying various methods and mannerisms of self-healing. And we grapple before we find the truth. There is one truth. There is one standard for all of humanity. And following it will not only give you an enjoyable life here on earth, but into the next life, where the rules are just the same. We do not do what we think will work. We do what we think will work. We do what we think will work, but it does not mean that it will work. We are eternally hopeful that things can get better and that we know we want change because eternity is set in us. We are part of the universe. We are part of that perpetuation of life, and that has a prescribed notion, prescribed mindset of success that I'm going to share with you. The truth is that not all things, ideas are beneficial to us. And we learn this to be true through trial and error. There is a pure prescribed manner in which to live that does not require backing up, starting over. I started this chapter by showing how blind people, despite their limitation, fight and persevere to go out on their own and live their lives. Yet their attitude demarks them as strivers. Can we imagine what a blind person with a very bad attitude would be like to themselves? That would be total darkness. I think this would work against them. As well, a bad attitude for anyone tears one down and puts one at a disadvantage because they see things pessimistically and with a heavy heart and mind. It is much quicker and more efficient to do a hard chore and task with a good spirit than a grumbling or resentful mood. Most importantly, you owe it to yourself that while you are in your own presence and while you can hear yourself, to speak words or to think only in thoughts that are uplifting, promoting the well-being and happiness of your mental and eternal vibration. Monitor what is going on in your spirit through your thoughts and what is coming out of your mind and spirit. It goes both ways. Meaning you must control what you're thinking. If this is new to you, you might wish to look at books or others who reprogram thought through life, who reprogram thought life so that it serves to your purpose and success. Reprogramming your thought life and controlling the words that come into your mind and head is not as simple as one might think at first. But it gets easier with time. Pay attention to what you think and what you say to yourself at any given moment. And what is the thought of your mind? What are the thoughts of your mind saying to you? Are the words and thoughts positive and encouraging and gentle? Meaning where you're gentle with yourself? Where you are at a state where you're able to reflect on how you're thinking so that you can redirect your thinking and talk with yourself, have internal talks, and doing this daily toward your productivity, toward your happiness and your adjustment? Are you programmed for success and toward the advancement and attainment of your goals and dreams through proper self-talk, uplifting self-talk? Or is your head filled basically with nothing valuable or productive? And starting with your attitude toward yourself, is your attitude serving you forward? A bad disposition is not changed overnight, yet requires time to change. And this means getting to the bottom of your issues. It's not a bad thing to get down to your issues. As we go through life, we have erroneous concepts or ideas of and attitudes that are not serving us, that are wrong, and nobody comes along and checks them for us. We have to do that ourselves. Again, I started this chapter with showing how blind people, despite their limitations, fight and persevere to go out on their own and live life on their terms. They're determined. They don't see outwardly, but internally they are very strong. Their attitude marks them as winners because they're persistent to not let their blindness stop them from living life to the full. And we can be the exact opposite. They cannot see, but their spirit drives them on. As well, though we are blind spiritually, we don't see our insides and how our insides are affecting us and how we can change our insides. We see physically. So this shows us there's two dynamics in our bodies. There's what we see physically, but what we see physically, our eyes cannot see inside of us. Our eyes do not see the inside of our souls. Your mind has to do that. Your mind has to look inside your soul. Spirit to spirit. It is best to see well internally and outwardly, to join mind, body, and soul together so they operate in unison and in harmony. In this day and age, it is clear, it is evident that people are detached from themselves. They're detached from their minds. They're detached from their bodies. They're detached from their spirits. And this makes for a sick society. And this is clearly the case. We are at worldwide epidemics in regards to mental health. The decisions that people are taking are not only harmful to themselves, but to those around them. Our children are not safe any longer. Where a time used to be where we would protect our children at all costs. Now, right within their own homes, their lives are at risk. Their emotional lives are at risk. Their physical lives are at risk. Their spiritual lives are at risk. So we need to get back to the drawing board. It is fine to be courageous and bold. Yet out of our ignorances and blindnesses can be harmful and dangerous to us if we continue to act recklessly in our inner self, with our inner weaknesses. Our weaknesses should be treated with logic and advice from trusted others to help direct us. Our weaknesses should be treated with the Bible, the logic and the wisdom of the Bible that binds up our wounds, that heals us internally. Our weaknesses should be shared with Christ our Lord, who is the author and perfecter of our faith, who wants to know us personally on a personal level. and is ready to meet you where you're at and talk with you face to face. You don't need to pretend with Jesus, with Christ. You don't need to be something you're not. He sees everything we do. He sees everything we think. The only point is to be honest. And there may well be times in our lives where we escape death or disaster without even having noticed our idiosyncrasies, the things we do that are so dangerous. Drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels and then getting into our car to drive home. We escaped death. We escaped disaster. We didn't kill anyone on our way home. Don't wait till something bad happens. Deal with your inner demons. Invite Christ into your life. The creator of the universe, who sees you, he knows your future. He knows your next steps. Be real with him. In one's own personal life, for example, if one has a disease or a handicap or a physical limitation, or something in their life that is a thorn in their side that they struggle with, yet we find ourselves having to still live and interact with the situation until it is dealt with, if it can be dealt with in the right manner, correctly, or else it may never be dealt with. We tend to leave what we're ashamed of, what we don't want to face, fester way too long in our minds. And our minds constantly are giving us warning signs. Please deal with this. Please deal with this. I can help you deal with this. It's not as bad as you think. Face yourself. Things are not going well in a particular area. Things are not going well with yourself because of what you're doing, and that it's putting fuel to the fire. Face yourself. Face your rage, your inner anger and your rage. Don't let it sit down. Don't let it fester in your mind. Talk to yourself. I don't make decisions for people. I do not solve their problems in the sense that here's the material. These are my personal experiences. These are my experiences that I've gone through in life and what has worked for me. Everyone has to make their own decision ultimately. For myself personally, I decided, as I said in various parts of my work, not to consume drugs. Why? Because they didn't sit well with me. I actually became worse when I took medication. And I already have a very creative mind that is constantly imagining, thinking, and taking medication or taking drugs was horrific for me. I turned into something else. And I found that sitting with myself, meditating, singing psalms, going to church, praying, having a relationship with Christ worked for me, was able to change me. I sat down with myself for years and I decided I don't care how long this is going to take. I'm going to make this work with God's hand in mine. With my hand in God's. We're partners. God is my mentor. God is my father. God is my partner. I, in faith, ask the universe. I ask him before making a decision to give me success. How do I move forward with this? And I wait for an answer. Our words, our actions clearly affect us in ways that we too often take for granted. We forget that others are watching. Others are absorbing our action and behavior. And words, they're absorbing our action and words. Our children, our grandparents. And our words will determine the quality of our continual relationships with one another, which ultimately is severed, and which happens all too often, where one party is left forlorn and abandoned. A distorted relationship clearly feels wrong, whether that's with ourselves or with others. Again, don't be afraid to face yourself. Don't be afraid to go on a road trip with yourself. Not to end your life. No, not to commit suicide. Not to hurt yourself. Just face your inner world. Face the words inside your mind. And get rid of them. Replace them with a YouTube channel sermon or a motivational speaker. Come to my site, Give Out Gallery, where each morning you can listen to something encouraging and uplifting. Read my books that help you and put you in a right frame of mind that successful people are enjoying. It's well worth the journey. Human fuel. Humans need fuel. We eat, but we also need nourishment for our souls. What is this nourishment? It's words that soothe. It's words that heal. To restore the wrong attitude or the wrong behavior, again, requires time, work, and most importantly, emotional energy. That's why you want to keep your health up. That's why you want to exercise and get fresh air. When you need it, your emotional energy to attack issues or problems in your life that come up, that are there. But once, I promise you, once your body, your mind is purged of all the toxins, the wrong thinking, your life becomes incrementally better, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. Emotional energy is a resource. Emotional resource is a fuel that we too often take for granted and outweigh its resource in poor waste, in poor time management. Burning this resource, you want to protect it at all costs. We seem not to be very good at managing our own emotional energy very well. Burning our fuel haphazardly by playing video games for 15 hours burns our emotional energy. Drinking 2 bottles of Jack Daniels burns our emotional energy. Watching pornography for hours on end, masturbating compulsively burns our energy and our well-being. Lusting after women's bodies, after men's bodies, doesn't get you closer, doesn't give you a better relationship when you meet someone physically. Learn what to say to a person. Learn how to behave. Learn what thoughts to think. When we meet someone, we don't interact with them sexually. We meet with them, we converse with them, we interact with them relationally. Because emotional energy is a resource that is emitted from human beings, we want to protect each other's emotional energy through our interaction and scenarios, through pleasantness and love. You don't want to interact with others and exchange angry, bitter emotional energy, which is toxic. So it's like a tide that comes in and out. The tide comes in, the sand pushes it out. It's a seesaw, it's a dance of give and take, give and take. The human resource of quality emotional fuel comes at a price and a cost to ourselves and to society. We distinctively perceive the differences between, as I said earlier, good emotional fuel and toxic emotional fuel, which directly affects each and every one of us. We perceive an area or space that is laden with a heavy emotional fuel, where that area is polluted and infested with toxic energy, emotional energy. It's often a toxic workspace is adequated to a place where people are unfriendly, where they're cruel, where they're gossiping. And a positive workspace where people help each other and they're pleasant and they mind their manners is different. I believe that we want and crave and require good emotional energy to propel our lives toward this healthy, continual happiness, whether it's in our homes, whether it's in our car, whether we're at the workplace, whether we're traveling, whether we're visiting other people's homes, whether we go into a government office. We are happy when people are emitting a good emotional fuel. A good emotional fuel that is projected by, as well, many layers that we too often take for granted. We want a good emotional energy backed with people who are ethical. For example, if you go to your doctor's office and he's emitting a smile, or say you go to a law office and your lawyer is emitting smiles at you and being pleasant and courteous, but then is unethical behind the smile. So we hope that there's this congruency, this connection between good behavior, outward displays of good relational attitudes, good relational habits, and as well a foundation of ethics, a foundation of morality that is the rock and basis of each and every single human person, or should be at least. We can clearly demark when a person is void and missing these constructs of a healthy and thriving human being. For example, we can get up and our children don't even say good morning to us. There's no need for this. As we come in the presence of another sacred human being, we acknowledge their presence. And we expect them to be learned and self-learned about the rules of life. These rules need to be taught to our children. They need to be expounded to them so that they grow up well adjusted for themselves and for others. These notions should be our highest priority worldwide. Where do we get or acquire these quality emotional resources and energy bases, which we can store within us like a well that never dries up but flows up continually when required for ourselves or others? There is this scenario in reality which I will share with you, my esteemed readers. Emotional fuel is at the expense which comes directly from an inner core of due reflection and selective memory. The price of affecting its resource is a valuable commodity when refined properly. We must become this refined fuel of energy that propels us and the world toward happiness and a good life well lived. This commodity comes from the inner deepest part of our soul, cultivated through healthy ideas and truths. We can learn these truths at any age if we do not fathom them at a young age. However, if we have not fathomed them at a young age, if they have not been taught to us, they still can be learned. What are these truths and how do we hold them? I will share these truths with you in the coming chapters. And I commend you if you've gotten this far in this ebook. Keep reading. Great job. We must learn. We must return to the original thought form of health, happiness. We must return to the original thought forms of health. Contemplate our health. Contemplate our happiness and understanding of who we are in relation to others. Many, including myself, did not know what this looked like at a young age. And for most of my life, I have to admit, many of us do not know where to start or how to find this inner person, our inner us amidst our situations, especially when you're smack dab in it. We attach an enormous amount of meaning to what we're going through and the things we go through to defining us. A brain surgeon who was going through a divorce, a very messy divorce, admitted that she was shocked that her, as a very intelligent person, schooled and having a great knowledge base in comparison to most of us, that when it came to go through her own divorce, she could not bring herself or talk herself out of the situation in a rational way. And she was shocked at this. She didn't know how to deal with her pain of the situation of the divorce. And she wondered why. She said, I know the brain, I know how it works. Why am I not able to get a handle on what's going on in my life? So this shows us that there's something else that we're missing. It's not the understanding of the brain, of what we might think it is. Each person is unique. Each person is different. And getting to the core of what makes us tick is something that we all need to pay more particular attention to. Can it be just a simple practice of stopping, getting quiet, getting still, meditating, and hearing the voice of our soul? And accepting what it is that we hear for what it is. Why then does pain and suffering stick to us in ways that we are inept at dealing with properly or immediately? Why do we hold on to it instead of rationalizing it, rationalizing pain, rationalizing what has taken place? We don't do that very often. Think of the alcoholic. Think of the severe drug addict, the compulsive eater, the pain-riddled homeless woman. We are to at least attempt to disconnect from toxic mindsets, toxic ideas, and separate ourselves from the poor situation, the unpleasant situation. We are to make a distance from the volcanic fumes and the flames that are burning so that we are not burned by them any longer. We are to detach from the past, detach from the connotations attached to the situation, detach from the evil, detach from the demise and the loss, detach from what happened 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. Detach from those memories, those events. We are to detach. We are to leave what is wrong, both physically and emotionally draining. We are to leave what is physically and emotionally draining from our minds. They can drain us once, but repeatedly for years and years and years, it does not make sense. Yes, a memory is there. A situation took place. We perceive it that way. We perceived it this way. It was bad. It was horrible, but we're still alive. Our life is ahead of us. We're still here, and we have our whole futures ahead of us. We could go into our minds, visit the situation, visit the scenario, and talk to yourself in it. Okay, I did this. This was the outcome, but it doesn't describe me 30 years later. It doesn't define me. Things happen to everyone. Some things are worse than others. But God gives everyone the strength to go through what they do go through and to teach others, the lesson in all that we experience. Set a space where one is safe emotionally and spiritually to think, to ponder, to understand. And this may take a day, this may take 2 weeks or a lifetime of reflection. Lifetime of reflection, of self-talk, healthy self-talk. Take the time you need to get well. You're getting well. What that means to you, what that feels to you. I'm saying to work out your problems internally. Heal your insides to a place where it no longer is a burden or an issue of brokenness within you. Make it a conscious decision to decide to talk about the thorns in your side. The reality is such that we can hold on to our toxic events internally all our lives and never deal with them. But to what purpose and use is this thinking, really? There is no shame in talking about what is ailing us. The sooner we deal with the pain, the suffering, the sooner we get on with our lives. And all of us has issues, pain and suffering. But I have to admit that it's a worldwide epidemic of people who are not well internally. They're angry, they're bitter, they're holding on to events that happened a long time ago. And it's so easy to deal with them. Self-talk. It's a waste of time and emotional energy that we can be using to do different things, something more pleasant. Let's find out what this pleasant is, what this better is. And it's more healthier than brooding with our murky, muddy thoughts. Let's get clean. Let's clean our souls up. Let's purify our souls so we can thrive. One day while I was working at the airport, I noticed that a passenger was hiding something as she was going in her purse. And at first, I perceived her as being elusive about something that she was taking out of her bag, and I was curious to see what she was going to take out. I noticed that she was hiding her hand. She did not have full have full normal function of her hand. I noticed that she was young, she was attractive, and had a very seemingly pleasant personality. But as I watched her, she was conscious of her impaired hand, and it showed. She was trying to hide the fact that her hand was deformed. She was ashamed of her hand. In many years of having worked with the public, I had yet to see someone who displayed such consciousness as she did. You could clearly see that she was not enjoying the fact that her hand was unfunctional and that she could not use it. And I thought about how her hand was going to affect the rest of her life, or she was going to make that affect the rest of her life, when really she could just ignore it and just accept it. I still was ready to respect her and honor her. I was still ready to serve her. She quickly went through the screening process, and I wanted to help her out any way that I could to encourage her. But yet, she, in her embarrassment, missed the opportunity to have all the support and attention she may have needed in confirmation of her worth and value as a person. She was looking to hide, and I was looking to treat her kindly. We all have things we cannot change about our physical appearance, but there are things about us that we can change. Many of us hide internally with our shame and ills, corrupting our lives, burning and wasting our inward power, our inward courage, and utterly faking it. This is an area of our lives that we can put all our energy and attention toward, that will directly affect our joy, quality of life, and be an example of courage to others around us. Let's enjoy our lives into the next stages of our existence so that we are flowing and not in stagnation of emotional rot. So many things happen to all kinds of people. Things happen to people. They were not hurting anyone. They were just trying to do good, or someone in their ignorance and stupidity and drunkenness, in their lack of mental clarity, made a decision or made a mistake that would forever affect the lives of those around them. Drunk drivers, murderers, rapists. These people go on rampages. And they're out to destroy, to kill. They're out to inflict pain on others. The pain that they have deep within them, they're looking to release it. But they do it the wrong way. They don't look at themselves. They don't heal themselves. They don't know how. So they take it out on the next person. This is not a sign of maturity. When we slip, when we do these kind of things, when we do evil because evil has been done to us, we cause ill and harm to our neighbors and to ourselves. This happens more often than we would like to think, but countless people around us are suffering due to the wrong actions or mistakes of other people. Everyone has a story. Therefore, let's all do our part to mitigate suffering, to mitigate evil. Let's not kid ourselves. What others do, what we do, affects us all. Be careful, therefore, how you live. Ponder, think about your life and how you live. One day, soon enough, the results of your action may get you to a point of no return. Aristotle says the point of no return is not beneficial to anyone. A person who does not take care of their health, smokes all their lives and ignores every sign and advice to stop smoking, and then gets lung cancer. Had numerous chances to stop and decide to quit, but they could not. They could not, despite their best efforts. We go to a point where we can no longer easily just decide to get back on track. We take drugs and we say, we got a handle on this, I'll never become addicted. We take heroin, but then we just, that next hit, that next fix is that fix that's going to keep us in bondage for years. It's a mindset where we're trapped emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, to this point of no return. This is like the blind man who cannot see, who knows he's blind. He understands he does not see, but is somewhat imprudent with the fact that danger surrounds. His disposition and realities set his blindness in the background because he has to live. He doesn't want to be inhibited by his blindness. We can also see, the many of us, and yet be internally blind. Which would you rather be? Outwardly blind and internally clear and able to see? Or be able to see but be internally blind? Or be able to see and be both internally clear? The latter is the best and where I want to draw you toward. That is to be able to see with your own eyes the beauty of this world, and as well to be internally clear. Where these two congruencies meet, where mind, body, and soul meet together. Therefore, being cautious or prudent is an internal job first. Some people astound you because of their tenderness of heart and love, though they could decide, they could easily be bitter or hateful because of the card they've been dealt with in life. I think that each person has their cross to carry, and none of us is exempt. Each of us has some type of disability in one form or another. For some of us, it's outward disability. For many of us, it's an internal disability. We notice it. We don't have to share it with others. It's a little glitch, like in a computer. It has this funny glitch, and we don't need to be put on the grass for it. We just deal with it the best way we can. But that still doesn't mean we don't get to play by the rules of life, Whoever we are, doctor, ditch digger, we have to play by the same rules, whether we like it or not. I think that all of us have a crippling situation or thought or a physical infirmity that we have trouble mastering or controlling or accepting as really part of what makes us and who we are. But there is help, there is hope. And this is what I wish to impart with you with certainty, esteemed reader, holding this work. Today, I want you to love yourself and accept yourself, warts and all, knowing that we are all ultimately going through the same struggles in this game called life. More than a physical limitation are mental ones that linger in the mind and reinforce the limitations and perpetuates them. The mind is the battlefield. I am reminded that Jesus, the Lord, would go around healing people from their infirmities. Just imagine having leprosy or a physical limitation and then suddenly be relieved from it. He went about healing people while on earth. I believe this is true then as it is today. I believe that today, those who have faith to call on Christ, I encourage you to do it, to ask for healing. That was the calling card of Christ, to heal, to reconcile, to mend what is broken in our lives. A miracle is, or healing is described as a miracle. A miracle is an event not ascribable to human power or laws of nature, and consequently attributed to a supernatural, especially divine agency. Such an event may be attributed to a miracle worker, a saint, a religious leader. A miracle is sometimes thought of as a perceptible interruption of the laws of nature. When Jesus would approach a sick person, he would first ask them, "Do you wish to be made well?" This is a very interesting comment because not everybody wanted to be made well. They rather enjoyed their condition, the attention it brought them, or whatever reason they had. Not everybody wanted to be well. So he asked, "Do you wish to be made well? I have the authority and the power to do it. Is this what you wish? Is this what you want?" He asked first by including the person in the decision making before affecting the change in them. So this implies that the person being healed had to first make some calculations in their mind as to what was going to take place. Meaning on their part, a conscious decision to cooperate with the reboot or the restart was primordial in the perpetuation of their healing, in the continuation, in the prolongation of their healing. Jesus, in various parts of the Bible, has said, stop sinning, or something worse can happen to you. Something worse might happen to you. Meaning, I'm going to cleanse you of your ailment, but you know what you're doing. You know when you're ill, and you're doing things that doesn't help the situation. So say, and let me make this clear. We all do it, but I'm just hashing out a point here. Say your doctor has given you the diagnosis that you have lung cancer, but you continue to smoke. So what Jesus was saying here is, look, I'm going to heal you now. I'm going to take the desire to smoke away from you. But don't go out and buy a pack of cigarettes after I heal you. Be cautious. Do your part to stay away from it. Meaning, I'm going to heal you, but don't continue to repeat your same mistake. Which is fair. It's tantamount to an alcoholic, a severe alcoholic who miraculously gets healed, and all those feelings and drives and habit and customs to drink and the pattern of buying it, taking it home and opening the bottle and drinking for a few hours, and then the end results is of a stupor and of anger and frustration and abuse. Well, if somebody gets healed from drinking alcohol and then you fall back into it. So Jesus is getting the acknowledgement from the person that they cannot help themselves, they cannot heal themselves, nor get out of their unwanted condition. They no longer want the condition. They want to be released from it. They want to be separated from it. They don't want to deal with the issues of the condition. And they don't think they have to, should. But that moving forward, they are conscious of their actions and doings as not to fall back into the same predicament. They wanted to be separated from their situation of ill health. It's cost them too much. It was robbing them of a healthy enjoyment of life, robbing them of friends or careers or good night's rest. The list is long. And in physicality as well, the social implications revolve to any illness or condition, brings with it its challenges that can be mentally tiring. Sickness brings with it numerous problems that directly affect one's quality of life. First, a person went to Jesus. Some went to Jesus knowing distinctively he performed miracles. And the issue was not if he could heal them, but it was just to get near him, to get in his presence, so that Jesus could, in fact, heal them. Maybe they came from very far distances. It's possible that they traveled for days, and it took faith to do that. It was an issue of getting to him or coming into contact with him. Second, when Jesus approached the sick person, Christ asks permission again to heal them. That is to involve the person in the act through this mutual agreement of what will be done to them. Meaning a meeting of the minds, an agreement that Christ, our Lord, wants to heal you, wants you to be well, wants you to be delivered, and he is going to be the catalyst in your life or my life. So Christ is helping the other in a manner that the one asking cannot do this themselves. They cannot heal themselves of leprosy, of cancer, on and on and on. They can't detach from their disease. It's now become part of them, ingrained in them in such a manner that they need a reboot, a restart. And this might be quite challenging. But as well that they trust him, they believe that he will heal them. This took faith in what was not possible in a physical sense, or in a secular sense, in a natural world to happen and take place. This was not. It took faith, because in the natural world, things like this don't happen. Third, the actual healing rather, means that the person no longer will live in any of the trappings of the infirmity associated with the past condition now that they're healed. How will they experience the healing and live with their new made life, their newfound health? How will they think? How will they act? What will they say? They will be released from the past way of living altogether. How does one go from an ill state and limited physically to the next second being freed from all its implications? The once ill person did not go under the knife, did not take magic pills. They simply went from being ill to becoming well. as if nothing was ever physically wrong with them in the first place. The once ill person did not go under the knife that Jesus approached. Jesus didn't have an operating table in front of him. He didn't invite people to his practice. He didn't cut them up. There was no blood. There was no incisions. He just spoke the word. This is the amount of power that he had. Boom! They simply went from being ill to becoming well, as if nothing was ever physically wrong with them in the first place. Same body, same person, but now different circumstances. Isn't that something? It is said that miracles still occur today, as they are documented. These are documented phenomena. You know, we hear of these stories, and because that person is not beside us for us to validate what their experience, what they've gone through, we have all kinds of questions and thoughts that go through our minds. They are documented cases, situations where people have experienced miracles in their lives. And I am one of those persons who has experienced a miracle in my life. I have to admit that I heard about miracles and I've read many of the accounts that Jesus affected while he was on earth. And I believe that what he did then was true. I do not doubt that in the least. But for my own personal life, I never saw an instant miracle. I saw my life change over time. I know where I started. I know the journey that I've taken. It was a very difficult journey. It was very difficult for people to watch me. I was severely mistreated as I was growing up. My needs were not met. Because I had an erroneous view of relationship with others and myself, it was tantamount to a disastrous life. I know I could have been dead 2-3 times over, but God took a special interest in me. He wanted to help me and make a display of my life for everyone who's hearing this podcast. That you too, God, as long as you have breath, you have access to this help. I encourage you to reach out to me. I want to help you. I know where I came from. I know that your life can be changed instantly. You need the right mindset. You need the right information too. And I can help on that part for those who are willing to help themselves, those who want to change. We have to meet halfway. This is my account of my miracle. As I mentioned, my metamorphosis and my change of lifestyle was not an easy journey for me. It is only Christ, the creator of the universe, who kept me together, who kept me from killing myself, who kept me from going over the edge, who kept me from drugs, who kept me from medication, toxic medication. As I said earlier in my work, medication did not work for me. I know that if I would have taken medication, I would not be here today because my mind could not accept medication. My blood or it would not help me at all. It would make me worse. And I perceived this, God helped me to perceive this, that I was going to do it straight on. Just have to face myself, face my grief, face my truth, and deal with it, make peace with it, and move on, and which I have done. I'm sharing that with you today. Christ's calling card is for each and every single person to become well. But you have to decide that you want to be well. It's long to live in heaviness. It's long to live in torment, especially if you end up living 90 years. There is a way out. You don't want to stay in that place. There's a beautiful world. You want to find that world and enjoy it. I struggled over 2 decades, 3 decades now, mainly due to my stubbornness, my foolishness, my misunderstanding, my ignorance, my victim mentality. Oh, poor me, look what happened to me. While there are many people who are suffering a worse life than me, people who have no access to water, clean drinking water, people who sleep on the floor, who have no washing machines to wash their clothes, no toilets. Many of us don't realize how the rest of the world lives. Many people are sick in hospital beds. They haven't had a visitor in years. They're blue because they're so full of medication. They just need some fresh air, someone to take them outside. They have a tube in their nose and in their throats. They can't breathe properly. They can't eat. That's no way for a person to live, let alone an animal. Guys, let's get up. Let's get up on the inside. Let's decide this is going to be a year of change. We deserve it. We deserve to live in a state of happiness. And that is possible. And I'm going to show you. I encourage you to reach out to me through Give Out Gallery. Make an appointment with me. It's $50 for a half hour. I take an assessment of you. And I'm not here to waste your time. I'm here to set you on the right path. And you do need help. You do need a mentor. You do need a coach. We all need that. It's just, we need that. I have mentors. I have coaches. And you need one too. There is a recipe to a successful life. I'm going to show it to you. But I need you to meet me halfway. I won't be doing the work for you. I'm not going to be living your life for you. You're going to do it yourself. And you're going to be proud. And then you're going to teach others around you the successes that you're having. Please don't be lazy. Please don't give up on yourself. That's the worst. You were not born to give up on yourself. I had a change of heart. It is only by God's grace, who had a lot of pity on me and a lot of patience with me. He saw my brokenness. He saw where I was coming from. And the spirit of the universe took interest in me. There are a lot of people who don't make it. There are a lot of people who kill themselves. They just will not realize that what they're doing is not working. And I realized what I was doing was not working. And I luckily took the hand that the universe was extended to me. You know, don't criticize what you don't understand, okay? The wisdom of the world is trying to help people because it already has a prescribed trajectory. What are you talking about, lady? Well, what I'm talking about is that, did you notice that the world keeps turning day and night, day and night? Yeah. Well, what that means is that it has a path. There is an ordering already. We die, and people get born, and it's always the same thing. Meaning there is a set rule and standard that I want to show you, that I will show you how to live. I will show you how that works. It's not difficult. But once learned, brings you joy, brings you hope, brings you a purpose. And I want to show you that. I want to show you how that looks like. So that the well of water, like a flow, it's what is she talking about? What is this lady talking about? Well, I'm trying to open your mind. to give you a perspective to start your road to recovery, to start your road to success, so that the success has to come out of you, not me. My success does, it helps you. I can help you if you listen to me and do what I tell you, but you want success for yourself. Like right now, whatever room in the house that you're at, it's your success because you feel that through your mind. You feel success, you feel yourself through your mind, just as you feel horrible and terrible through your mind. So it's everything is happening in the mind, in the computer. You see? So when you go to school, well, how do you feel about yourself? Right? It's because those thoughts are being emitted through your head, and we got to reprogram. You got to take the tape out of the head. Your head, it's not working for you. You might as well pitch it and put in a new cassette. I'm the new cassette. I'm the new voice. I'm going to help you, but you got to let me help you. Let me help you. Meet me halfway. You know, life is about grasping. It's about, as I said in earlier chapters, it's about grasping. It's about what kind of fuel you're burning, right? It's a good fuel, and so the quality of the fuel is very, very important. I was earlier talking about my miracle, what happened in my life. So I allowed the spirit of the universe to help me, to lead and guide me. We have tools to do that, and I will show you what they are. I will show you everything. I will not hide anything from you. I will not deplete your bank account either and then leave you worse off than when you started. But this will cost you. Okay? But it's well worth the cost for a few cups of coffee, a pair of jeans that you were going to buy every second month. Okay? Reach out to me. I was going to tell you about my miracle in my life. I know where I came from, what I was doing. I didn't want to listen to my parents. My parents were not good role models because they themselves didn't know who they were. They were struggling. So they were not a good role models to me. And I perceived this. Isn't that funny how, as people, we quickly perceive who we don't want to emulate and who we do want to emulate. We perceive that. And we think we're so smart, but we forget to mind our manners and to say thank you to our parents because they're people just like us. They have a heart, they have feelings. Even though we perceive that they may not be the best people that we want to emulate from, this happens all the time in families, but we still show respect to our parents. Why? Because they're people, they have feelings. They're trying to do the best they can. They're trying to love you. They're trying to take care of you. And it's not easy. Life is not easy. You're noticing life is not easy. There's a right way to go about things. I have to keep on that path. You have to keep on that path. We're all in this together. There's no free lunches for anybody. Okay? And we need to change our attitude. We need to change our disposition. We need to change the way we look at things. Because what we're doing is not working for us. Now, the wisdom of the universe, what it does is that it's going in a direction. And this direction is to bring hope to people. It's saying, you know, come on board with me. We're gonna make a go of things. It already has the answers. It has the path. It knows what it's doing. So I encourage you to get on board. Get on board. Save yourself. My miracle was when I left my parents' home. I was always looking for a good life. I wanted to live well. I got into bad relationships because I didn't know who I was and how to hold myself in a relationship. I didn't know how to hold myself. Uh, After everyone burned me because I was an attractive woman, and I felt I was powerful. I would engage in sexual activity, promiscuity. That didn't give me anything. I didn't gain anything from that. It was a waste of time. And I put myself in dangerous positions many times. For what? Those orgasms, and once you have them, so what? How many can you have? And what does it do for you in the end? It just burns your mind. It's like, you know, you have a cigarette and they all taste the same after a while. That's not the way to go. That's not the answer. Sex should only be reserved for a loving, committed relationship. Everything has to have a reason. Everything has to have a purpose. Our minds don't like it when we do things mindlessly. While I was at church, my church was having a Christ Church Cathedral, which was the Anglican church that I attend, on Spark Street in Ottawa, was having a public service of healing. And to be honest, not too many people went up to while I was at church, the priest said, "We're having a healing ministry, please come forward." And I didn't really think anything of it. I did it for fun. I went up to the nave area where the priests were. I knelt down, and I didn't tell the priest exactly what I wanted to be healed of. I was being selfish with what was wrong with me. I'm so used to, what's wrong with me, and it's my crutch, and it's kind of my personal stink, my personal garbage. I want to keep it to myself because I'm afraid of the future. I'm afraid of growing up. So I didn't say anything to the priest. I said, "God, can you ask God to remove anything in me that's offensive?" "Well, I know I have a long list of things that are offensive in me. So I let God pick." I said, "Oh, I'm going to let God pick what he thinks is offensive." And the priest did not pray out loud. He prayed silently. And I left. I remember the dean with oil putting a sign of the cross on my forehead and declaring me as Christ's own. But I have already been baptized in 2001, since I gave my life over to Christ. So after the services, after this healing, I didn't really believe anything of it. And I went home. I remembered that day going home. Now, usually after church, what I would do is go to a liquor store and I would stock up with my wine and beer. I noticed I didn't do that this time. I noticed that it's been 9 months, almost 10 months now, since that day that I have not bought a bottle of beer or wine. Now, I remember going through COVID, how heavily I was drinking. In fact, my drinking became quite heavy during COVID. Before that, it was not a problem where I wasn't getting to work. I was still able to go to work. But I was preferring alcohol to initiating a friendship or having someone over because I wanted them to go as quickly as possible so I can get into my drinking. I was the type of person that liked to, not during the day. I was not drinking during the day. I was drinking like later on in the evening, 4 or 5 o'clock, like everyone else, cracking open a cold one, opening a bottle of wine, and having a, enjoying having a bottle of wine, having a bottle of beer here and there. And then toward the end, I noticed I was finishing my evening, even going to my bedroom, putting a beer on the night table, especially if it wasn't finished. And this was starting to bother me because I saw that there has to be more to life than this. Being drunk at every Canada Day or being drunk on the holidays, and didn't like the fact that I was controlled now by this problem. Um, I was trapped by it. It was consuming my life, and I no longer could see what could be without this in the way, without the drinking in the way. Um, I would go to the store and say, okay, that's it. I'm not going to be drinking anymore. And I'd notice I'd be buying double the amount than when I used to. So I would set my mind, okay, I'm not going to buy anything. And then I would go by the section, and instead of taking one bottle of wine, I'd take two. And instead of drinking only two beers, I was up to 4 cans easily. You put your number in there. You see, this is not good. So I was very glad uh, that I just stopped. It was a miracle. The desire to drink was removed from me. The desire to go buy it and bring it in the house was instantly removed. I don't have that desire. I don't. I don't have desire. It's just a miracle. And I'm so glad, because I find that I am now more productive. My life is different. I'm more clear-minded, and I've accomplished a lot more things. And because God said to me, the Spirit of the universe said to me, I want to show you things, but if you're drunk all the time, you're missing my cues, right? When we're drunk, I was missing God's cues. I was not hearing what he was telling me. I was not catching, something in my mind would come up like an idea, and I would dismiss it because I was drunk. Right? It's the same when you're stoned. You don't hear, you don't see the creativity as much. You don't hear the voice of the creator of creation guiding you and leading you. Right? So this is very logical. Wisdom is always trying to save us. We know. I know you know this. You can lie to me, you can pretend, but I know that you know. There's a right way for you to live. So that was my story. I have not drank in 9 months. I do take communion. And I can have half a glass of wine, a little bit of wine during New Year's or a dinner. I don't have to be fatalistic, but this is my story. Everyone has their own story. People have to do what's right for them in getting well. Um, I don't bring the alcohol in my house, but if I go to someone's house and they offer me a finger of wine, that's my limit. I have noticed an immediate change and improvement in my personal development, where I am investing in myself. Invest in yourself rather than drink myself down the drain, taking my hard-earned money and throwing it in drinking, having a buzz, a cheap buzz, like having an orgasm, or cheap. It's cheap, doesn't give you anything. You didn't make you richer. Yeah, you could be richer with some things, but then it burns your soul, right? There are rich people who are doing wrong things. We don't want to do that. We don't want to emulate that example. We want to always do the right thing, so we thrive. So we're like a star constantly shining in pureness. That's where you want to move toward. That's what I want to help you move toward. Invest in yourself. So I stopped drinking my hard-earned money down the drain, down the toilet. 30, 40, $50 a week, $60, $70 a week, maybe even more, hundreds of dollars a week down the toilet. And it's a continual thing, right? It never stops. So I'm glad. I thank God who saved me for that. So now I'm spending money on my self-development, and my self-awareness has increased to a point of realization that I was too lazy to face my demons and to face myself. This demon of alcohol, the alcohol demon, kept me from discovering my true abilities and wants and desires by blocking me, right? Blocking me a little time each time with a cheap glass of beer as my achievement for the night. Well, look at me. I can get to the LCBO. I can get to the beer store. I can get to the section and buy my beer, buy my alcohol. Look at me. I finished a whole bottle. I'm a big girl. How ridiculous. How ridiculous. If it wasn't for that miracle, I would be drinking to this day. And it is now February, the 2nd of February, 2023. Get your healing. Do it today. Do it in faith. Go to church and get into a relationship with clergy, ministers of the church. Build a godly relationship with Christ based on your personal growth and development through the Word of God. Do it now. Do it today. Save yourself. Get your healing. Do it today. Do it in faith. Go to a local church. Ask a priest, a minister, to help you, to heal you, to pray for you. What is prayer? Prayer is words going into the spiritual realm to change things about yourself that you cannot, to make sense of what is going on in your mind in a way so that you can think clearly enough to get yourself to where you need to be toward healing. There's a prescribed notion toward healing. It's not eating 3 boxes of chocolates. You know that. You feel like shit afterwards. It's going for a walk, going for a run, and being pleasant with yourself and with others, because you know that when you're nasty with your parents, with your friends, you feel bad about yourself. It gets internalized. So that's why you go to church. That's why you ask for prayer. There's lots of prayer lines you can call that are free, 1-800. There's lots of material on YouTube. Listen to my podcast. Listen to the material that I have. Yeah, it's slow, but it's to get you to heal. It's to get you to closer to yourself. Okay? So you want to have a relationship with the creator of the universe, who is silent. The creator is silent, but has knowledge and wisdom in the silence. And your mind can make this connection because you are a soul. It makes this connection with the creator of the universe toward personal growth and development. And through the Word of God, the Bible. They're just like people like me and you, who too had the same questions to life that you and me have, but who got on the train, who got on the right bandwagon, who went in the right direction, made the right decisions. Everybody who is anybody today will tell you that their success is from God. It's from the creation, the creator. They have a relationship with the creator. They may hide it. They may not openly say it, but ask. You'll see. Find out for yourself. I have been a Christian now for well over 30 years. The beginning stages were brutal. They were ugly. The last 22 years were living hell as I was changing and growing and realizing, I didn't have the right mindset. I looked at things erroneously. You can call me like a fool. Not me, but the way I thought was foolish. The way I did things was stupid. I had a bad attitude. Had a victim mentality. I was bitter and contentious and thought, you know, everyone's out to get me, or the world is horrible and it's everybody's fault. It's just that there's a way to navigate all that. There is a way to navigate everything. And that's what I want to teach you. I learned it. I learned the secrets of life. It's how you navigate, right? It's like when you're in a boat. How do you navigate that boat? How do you steer it? How do you steer yourself so you don't crash, burn and crash? You know, the healing ministry of Jesus Christ, he knew people. He knew what it was like to live as a human person on this earth. He knew all the trappings we would get into. He knew all the mistakes our parents would make and pass them on to us. He knows all this. That's why he's saying, come to me, I want to help you. He uses people like me. I'm not talking, pie in the sky. A lady doesn't know what she's talking about. I know what I'm talking about. Why do this? Because a world with unhealthy people is a dangerous world. Most of all, we're all connected. I have to interact with you as you drive, as you take the bus, as you do things. And I want it to be a pleasant interaction. I don't want you to do things you're not supposed to do. Steal, kill, rape, beat up people, hate on people. And when we interact with you, there's nothing but ugliness, nastiness. Ephesians 5:18 says, "For you were once darkness, but now you are light in the Lord." This verse never really struck a chord with me before when I was this abuser of alcohol. I did not drink socially, but alone. When I was out with others, I put on this hypocritical act of sipping my alcohol and showing that I was in control. But really, when I got home, I did the exact opposite. I was showing something on the front, in front of people, but behind the scenes, I was someone else. Are you someone else? Do we see your true self? Can we tell you that your true self needs to change? Your true self is smelly, rotten, and that you need to change your clothes, change your inner clothes? It can be done. Do not get drunk on wine, God says. Therefore, don't be foolish. Don't be stupid. Don't be an idiot. But understand what the Lord's will is. I used to be an idiot. I used to be a fool. Do not get drunk on wine, which leads to debauchery. True. It leads to debauchery. Why did I never take this verse seriously? Now that I don't buy alcohol or bring it into my house, as I said, I do other things that are more in line with my desires, my accomplishments, and my growth, my mental health. I used to complain in God's ears for years. God, what is the matter? Why are things not happening in my life? Why am I not suddenly successful or rich? Or what is my problem? Well, the problem was me. The problem was the way that I thought, the way that I see things is erroneous, and I need to change. I need to change. I need wisdom. I need understanding. I need the right mentors. I need the truth that sets you free. The right truth, the one standard that I now know and that I'm willing to share with you. I complained in God's ears for years, asking him to give me something meaningful to do. And how could he, like I said, with my head full of bubbles? I read this verse for most of my life. I read it for most of my life and it never resonated with me. I was deaf to its truth. It's a simple life advice. Don't be a drunk. Yet my habit and over drinking was past moderate and a habit I no longer could measure. Meaning, oh, I've only had a few drinks. I'm still myself. No, the truth was that I was not myself. I was a fool because the bubbly now was making my bloodstream toxic, was making me not clear-minded, not making the right decisions, saying the wrong things to people, getting fired, telling people off, being inappropriate. The direct consequences of the drinking that now I came to accept as being normal. Oh, this is me. No, it's not me. Nobody wants an offensive anybody. Nobody wanted an offensive me who was too lazy to get her life together, who was too stupid to realize alcohol was ruining me. And I bothered my parents. I bothered people around me with my stupidity. And I'm glad that God said, oh my goodness, what a tough nut to crack. I was a tough nut. I was determined to be a tough person, resilient. Oh, God have mercy on me. I had become unbalanced in drinking, and it affected all areas of my life directly in ways which were no longer apparent to me. I was masked just enough from everything I was doing that was offensive so that I did not place it as the culprit to my unhappiness, to my demise, to my ignorance, on and on and on. It was, again, not a problem enough to say it was a problem. I wasn't a fall down drunk. But really, I was just like a severe drunk, not seeing myself clearly, not being successful, annoying people. Don't drunks annoy people when they get drunk? We have to put up with them. We love them. We love them. It's our parent, it's our sibling, it's someone we love. But it doesn't mean we have to sit there and take the shit. Since then, I have published books. My father, my mentor, my partner, my father, my mentor, my partner. On Amazon Kindle, I encourage you to read this book and to start your personal journey toward health, toward wellness, and toward your destiny. God is a free mentor. He will mentor you. Or you can get other mentors, trusted mentors. Lewis Howes, Grant Cardone. And I have published books, published podcasts, material, courses, and I do one-on-one talks. I encourage you to reach out to me. And I want to help you start your journey toward wellness. And my career has advanced, and my life is very different now. And I only have Christ to thank, and the prayers of the saints, the prayers of my family members, and the prayers of my Father who is in heaven. My physical father, who passed away at 84 with brain cancer, who went to heaven, who's probably talking to God right now and telling him, hey, that's my daughter down there. Those are my girls. Help them. Help my daughter. She needs extra help. You know, when I lost my temper, when I said too much, when my patience wore thin because the night before I had wasted all my energy on drinking, and now I don't have the energy to put up with you. when I'm in my car, I'm in the bus, and I'm irritated, and I'm going to give you a piece of my mind when there's no need for that. You see, when you're in your right mind, you can look at a situation and back up and detach yourself from the situation and put logic or understanding toward it. When you're drunk, everything seems to just go bad, go wrong, and you say the wrong things, you do the wrong things. I paid the price with lost jobs, loss of relationships. I did not want to initiate relationships either. I did not see the value of this advice, that is to live carefully, as advice that is to be a protection to my life, is to keep me from making mistakes. I saw it as God being a party pooper. God, don't go messing in my business. If I want to have a bottle of wine by myself, it's my right. Yes, it is my right. No one's going to stop me. But then I'm going to pay the price if I do this continually, which was clearly the case. And then I'm going to whine in God's ear why he's not helping me. These things don't make sense. Looking back in retrospect, it robbed me of so many years of productivity. Most importantly, we see the very heart and nature of God in this admonishment. If I am a drunk or tipsy, can I genuinely, as I said earlier, contemplate my life carefully and authentically with the creator of the universe who is present and real? So there were clearly the spirit of the universe is saying to the spirit of alcohol, the spirit of the universe is saying to the spirit of alcohol, hey man, we don't jive. How can I have a genuine conversation with you when you're under the influence of the spirit of alcohol? Can I contemplate the Creator when I have had too many? One too many. God wants us to connect with Him in clarity of mind and heart, meaning God wants to connect with us wherever we are, at whatever mindset we are. Many of us are in anguish. Many of us are suicidal. Many of us have given hope. Many of us are depressed. Many of us do not see any hope in life. Many of us are having issues, relational issues. Many of us are not doing well in school. Many of us are doing things that we don't want to do. We're depressed. We're not living life the way we want. Well, I want to help you with that. There's a pattern, there's an order, and I'm going to help you with that. Reach out to me. Reach out to me if you want me to come talk to a group of your friends, you want me to come talk at your church, you want me to give a talk at your schools, set up the venue. I can come and encourage you and give you tools and give you materials. Come to the website, Gavaut Gallery, Gavaut Gallery. It's a gallery of our lives, but we get it right. We do things right. We walk continually toward healing. We walk continually toward thriving. You know, all the successful people around us are trying to tell you something. We all have basically the same story, how we persevered. We didn't give up. We sought the truth. We sought the things that were useful and helpful to us. But we also, successful people have a base foundation, and this is the base foundation I want to teach you. You need this. You can't just decide, okay, I want to buy a Porsche. I want to make $300,000 a year. I want to be the Prime Minister of Canada. I want to be the President of the United States, but you didn't take any steps to get there. I want to show you those steps. I want to show you how to get there, what keeps you there, right? It's like winning the lottery. Most people will go and blow it all because they don't know how to invest it. They don't know how to make the right decisions. They don't stay away from the pitfalls that will destroy them. And this is the knowledge base that I want to share with you so that you will stay wherever it is that you decide to share your gifts, talents, and abilities with. Removing the alcohol from my life as well has produced less groaning and complaining from me. I noticed that I don't complain as much anymore. I'm more productive. and it's made me more resourceful. So I now complain less in God's ears because I'm more obedient. Proverbs 21:17 says, "Who has woe? Who has sorrow? Who has strife? Who has complaints? Who has needless bruises? Who has wounds without cause? Who has redness of eyes? Those who tarry long over wine, those who go to try mixed wine." Do not look at wine. Do not look at pot. Do not look at intoxicating medication. Intoxicating, where you no longer can think your way clearly. You're not thinking clearly. You don't feel like yourself. You don't feel like you. Do not look at wine when it's red, when it sparkles in the cup and goes down smoothly. In the end, it bites like a serpent and stings like an adder. Your eyes will see strange things, and your heart utter perverse things. Yeah, that was me. Okay, we know this truth now. We know this as a reality. What are we going to do about it? Walk away from it so you can see what's on the other side. Jesus performed unusual acts of healing, causing quite a stir in his lifetime. But this challenged people too once they were healed to say, okay, I don't want to go back to where I was. One requires a mental adjustment to how you see yourself after you are released from bondage. Adjusting from demise to being liberated. You're liberated now. Your thought life is completely different. And that's how Christ wants us to be. Can it be that the mind can be a determining factor in your healing or your unhealthiness by the way one thinks and what you're doing and about your situation at any given time? Is something to think about. Can it be that the mind is the determining factor in your healing or the reason why you are unhealthy? Remember that words created this world. Words. Because when you think about it, this is exactly accurate. The only thing that is going through your mind are words, the way you think. But thinking are just words. You're thinking words. So you need to change your wording in your mind. You need to be careful what you're thinking because that's what's causing you depression, suicidal thoughts. I know, you don't need to tell me. I already know. If you're depressed, if you are angry, bitter, it's because you're rummaging, you're renumerating, you're rehashing, you're rethinking over and over again the same thing. That's not positive. That's not helpful to you. You have to stop what you're thinking. Change the cassette. Take it out. I'm going to teach you how to reprogram your mind so that you're a well of flowing water. You know, like the whale, when it spurts water out of its head, it goes high, 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 high. You want to be like that. Your words are powerful. They empower you. They make you smile. They make you help others. They change you as a person. Successful people do this. I'm telling you, listen to me. Reach out to me. I can help you. Jesus went to the person, understanding their human nature. He understood us as people. You can't say that Jesus doesn't understand us. He created us. He's going to the person and he's saying, I'm coming to you saying, because I have the mind of Christ, because I've had a relationship with Christ now for 20, 30 years, walking with him, said to a person who was sick in any way, shape, or form, do you want to get well? As I said earlier, many people want to hold on to their drug taking, to their medication. They want to hold on to these crutches that are not helping them, but just keeping them stuck. Do you want to put this behind you, all this heaviness, all this brooding behind you so you can live your true life? Give me a call. Reach my site. Give me your email. Tell me what your problem is. Let me pray for you. Let me, the creator of the universe, break into your mind, break into your life, and stop the trauma, stop the heaviness, stop the debilitating, demonic, pedantic thoughts of crap. Let's throw that piece of meat, rotting piece of meat out of your mind so you can think your way happy. Think your way to success. Let's get started. Let's make 2023 a year of change. So Jesus asked the question, do you want to get well? Do you want to get well? Do you want to get well? Well, the guy said, look, Jesus, don't be so insensitive here. I can't get into the pool. I have no one to pick me up and put me in the water to heal me. This was the healing pool of Bethesda. It was a healing pool where people went, where an angel would visit once a year, and whoever got there first would get the healing. So this man, was on a mat. He was paralyzed. But it's funny how Jesus went to him. It's a story. It's a metaphorical story as well, meaning Jesus knew that that person could do something to help themselves. Jesus was a compassionate, loving God and not an insensitive man. He understood that that person could be doing something to get better, right? It's just like our parents. We lie to them. We say whatever we want, but our parents see right through us, right? It's just like you when you see right through your friend, right? When they do you dirty, when you know they're lying to you, when you know they could be doing more, but they just don't do it. Don't be like that. So Jesus is doing the same thing. He's straight up. Jesus is straight up. He's telling the guy, get up, get up. Pick up your mat, meaning don't leave your garbage around. Put your things where they belong and go do something with your life. This man was getting an attitude check. Jesus wanted him to make some kind of effort to get into the healing pool and not be lazy, lethargic, pathetic about his own part that he had to play in bringing about change in his own life. This is what this story is about. Rocky wanted to see more of Christ wanted to see more of a Rocky Balboa spirit in the crippled man from the story in the Bible. And Christ wants you to be like Rocky Balboa, a fighting spirit. And Rocky, Sylvester Stallone really didn't have an easy life. He had a speech impairment. He spoke with a slur. He stuttered, and he actually wanted to be in the movies. And people laughed at him like he was a nutcase because they would remind him, "Look at the way you sound." But he persisted. And Christ wants you to be the same way. He's going to work with who you are, but he wants to purify you. He wants to bring you back to your true self. Your true self is not the drugs, the alcohol, the medication, the demonic worship. It's not all that crap that just is squashing your soul. He wants to bring you to your true self. I think this is reasonable because man today, humankind today, we need all the fighting spirit that we can muster up in order to survive and flourish in this day and age in our lifetime. Maybe God doesn't appreciate whiners and complainers. And yeah, why should he? He's God. He can help us. He's got all the power, the tools, the guidance, but we just got to make the effort to go to him and say, okay, God, help me out here. Take my hand. Take my hand, reach out to me. You know what you need to do. Go to Gavout Gallery. Listen to my podcast, Gavaut Gallery. Go to YouTube channel. Listen to them completely. Ask for prayer. Go to church. Change your life. Change the cassette in your mind and put a better cassette in. Take that stinky, rotting meat that's rotting in your head and throw it out. The reality is less and less people get healed because they don't ask for healing. They don't believe in it. However, healings take place all over the world, and we hear of people who say they were healed. They were used to be sick, but now are no longer suffering the ailments. But they changed as well their lifestyles. They're doing things different to perpetuate and continue now their newfound health. You see, they're doing things differently than they were before because now they got healed, and they want to preserve that healing through talking, through gestures, through how they're living. You see, so this makes perfect sense. Not many of us have maybe miracles happen to us. We're in a period of waiting. We ask God. I know this takes a lot of courage sometimes because we're waiting and waiting and waiting, and God seems to be very slow. But our job is to continue to do what is right and know that God is fair. He is helping us incrementally day by day. Our patience certainly gets tested, as is in life in general. We wait for almost everything in life. In the process of waiting, we can't decide how we will wait, what we will think, and what we will do. If you are waiting for a healing, and if you're not, next in step is to determine how you will deal with your attitude with whatever situation you have been dealt with in life, and how you will decide to surmount the situation of your life with grace, with power, with conviction, and to have access to seek out tools to keep yourself encouraged, to empower yourself, to inspire yourself amidst your suffering, hurt, and pain. And know that eventually something powerful will come out of your spirit, a spirit that fights, that surmounts any obstacles, all obstacles, in bringing your life together. I got my healing because I have been struggling with my life as a Christian for well over 30 years. I didn't give up because God's Spirit is holding my hand above my head. He holds my hand and says, okay, you're going to get to your success, Santina. You have to get rid of all the shit in your life, all the things you do wrong that's making you stumble, that's making you sick, or making you not be successful. I'm trying to show you, listen to me. I've gotten to the point in my old age where I say, when God says something, I just do it. I'm not going to argue. I cannot argue with the creator of the universe who keeps this world spinning year after year for thousands and thousands of years. I can't be smarter than the creator who keeps the sun in place, who keeps the stars from falling on my head. I managed to stay mentally intact only by the grace of God holding me in place until I could mentally heal from my life trauma. Many would dispute this fact, of course, the naysayers. But this is my story, and this is how it went, and this is how it's going, and it's going well. I wish I had done it sooner. And the more you get punched, the more you get kicked down in your spirit, is when you know you're getting closer to your healing and you're getting closer to success. And you just keep fighting. You just keep fighting with a good attitude that you will come up stronger, with more fulfilled than you'll ever be. You're getting stronger and stronger. You're getting fulfilled. You're getting empowered. Keep persevering and putting up the good fight. And I'm saying to use your pain to your advantage. Not staying there, but using your pain as you turn your head and say, I never want to go back there again. That was a bad place. I saw all the mistakes I was making. I admit the mistakes I was making. I don't want to go back there. I'm turning away from that stupidity, from that ignorance, from that thinking, that way of living. I'm turning away and I'm never going back to you. And I'm going to tell other people about it. Use your pain in a smart way to overcome evil with good. Okay, that was the evil back there. Now I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to do what my parents are telling me to do. I'm going to do what my priest is telling me to do. I'm going to be cooperative. I'm going to be harmonious with my teacher. I'm going to respect the law. I'm going to respect police officers so I don't end up in court or in jail. Don't throw away your pain and suffering, but offer it up on a plate as a meal in the sense of learning to others, to yourself. Offer it up as the truth that that was not the correct way to live. It's your book of tools that tells you, I used to do this, I used to think this way, I used to talk this way, but this was my life. Now I realize that I've changed the way I think, I've changed the way I do things, and now my life is something else. So keep that where you used to be as a marker so that you don't go back there. Don't shy away from your life in passive resentment or retreat. Your frustration is telling you that you need to be, getting into another gear. You need to, go in, take it up a notch. You got to take it up a notch. You got to get out of neutral, get into first gear. Get into the game and fight. Fight with all your might and tenacity. It doesn't matter how ugly it is. As long as you keep fighting, as long as you keep trying. Like I said, I'm going to give you the ground rules. I'm going to give you your starting blocks. Fight with your gifts and talents and all that you have learned and break through. Break through. Break out. Break out the shield. Through the shield of discouragement. Break through discouragement. Break through depression. Break through suicidal thoughts. These are not normal thoughts. They are heavy. They're pedantic. They're very destructive and dangerous. And you want to break out. You can break out. There is a way. There is hope. I want to give you a specific prescribed mannerism. If you are tired of being depressed, if you are tired of being suicidal, you are tired of your life, I want to help you. I want to make 2023 a year of change for you. Send me your email, send me your name, tell me a little bit about yourself, and we are going to work together, and I'm going to help you change your life. I want to be that person who speaks into your life. And you can take a 1-month plan, talk to your parents. This is a decision to invest in yourself that will change the rest of your life. There's a 1-month plan, there's a 2-month plan, there's a 3-month plan. In 3 months, you will be a different person. I guarantee. I also have an online plan where we will communicate only by email. That's a possibility for you too. I want to see you well. Come visit the site. Invest in yourself. If what you're doing is not working, it means you need help from the right people. You need someone that you can trust. You need someone who has gone through. You need someone who is those steps ahead of you, who's been there and who's come out of the situation and now is living a different life. reach out to me. Talk to your parents about this. It's a good investment that you need, that you're not going to get. If you've tried other things, you've tried heavy medication, you've tried therapy, and it hasn't worked, give this a try. Matthew 8:13 says, Jesus said to the centurion, just go. It will be done just as you have believed it would. The centurion came up to him, a centurion in the Roman army, and said, I have someone in my home who is very ill, very sick. The centurion went to Jesus and said, you don't need to come in my house, just say the word, and I know that my servant will be healed. Jesus was marveled at the faith that he had. And he said to him, he said, go, it will be done just as you have believed it would. So because of his faith, he says, I'm going to do what you say. Jesus never turned anyone away. Go to Jesus, go to Christ, and just say, Christ, I give my life to you. What I'm doing is not working. Can you please? There's no begging required. God will begin to slowly pick you up on your inside and heal you. I encourage you to set on this journey, starting right now. There is help. Don't throw away the dirt of your life, because you're going to use all the things you did wrong that you are no longer doing as a learning tool for those around you. Like you're going to go back and say, I used to do this. I used to do I used to take drugs. I used to gulp down enormous amounts of alcohol. I used to ingest toxic medication that you don't need. That's, again, toxic to your bloodstream. You know what I'm talking about. Use your pain as a lesson to say, I didn't have to pick that. There is a better way. There's a better way. Our society doesn't seem to help people who are suffering and in a lot of pain. Why? Because there's money to be made off of you, of your dire situation. I'm not doing that. I'm not keeping you in that situation. I want you to come out of that situation. Teach others what should be done and what should not be done. There is a prescribed pattern to getting this done. This is simple, but it's you that shines forth after all. What you do in love and joy and with a hopeful spirit is important, because you need that to live a successful existence. Until you get out of the bitter spirit, until you get out of the resentment, the hatred, or the depression, or the suicidal tendencies, you're not living in a good place. And your perspective needs to be adjusted, starting immediately. Living in bitterness and self-hatred is an unhealthy place. If you are here, then it's good to just put this book down. Put this book down and let this thought come to you. Let it come through your mind. I want you to think, listen, when you're angry, resentful, embittered toward yourself, toward your life, toward those around you, and fighting with everyone, it's your psyche telling you that you need to change your attitude. You need to change the words that you're putting through your mind. They're not serving you. They're not helping you. Being frustrated can be good in itself, because if you use that frustration to immediately change your perspective, our bodies are telling us, I don't like this. Yeah, you're normal to do that. You're down because you haven't replaced the depression with something better, with something more useful to you. You can't stay in that condition. That condition is saying, I don't like this. Do something. Get up. Your body is telling you, we need to do something different. let me help you with that. So you want to blow up. You want to blow up in a good direction, healthy direction, and that catapults you into your destiny and space, right? By keeping out, being vigilant, being cautious about what you should keep out and what you can let in. It's a moment in your life and a moment where you know without a shadow of a doubt that you will change, that something better is coming. Know that you have found out the secret of life that you have been waiting for, that you have arrived. That change is around the corner. And now you just run in the direction of your calling, and no one can take that away from you because it's always been in you. It's like fractal geometry. It just keeps spreading and expanding. That's what we're doing as human beings. We spread, we spread, we spread. We get stronger and stronger in your talent, in your calling, in your gifting. But you just need to get on the right path first. You need to get rid of all the shit in your life, all the wrong thinking, the wrong talking, the wrong thinking. You're expanding either toward demise and depression and suicidal thoughts. You're going the opposite direction. Make sure your life is going in the right direction. It's something that you need to do that I want to help you with. Many times you're getting further and further away from yourself, or other times you're getting closer and closer to your self-realization and self-actualization. And you accomplish one goal, then you go on to another goal. Have you ever gone to a point of no return where you say to yourself, that's it? I don't want to do this anymore. This is not working for me. You decide, and there is no turning back. I'm not going back there. I'm not going to do that. And you need to do that with every aspect of your life. The answer is in the fight many times, and the will to persevere and hold on. But hold on and persevere toward a good goal, toward the good direction, so that you get to the next phase and the next phase of your life toward complete joy and success in all aspects of your life. You're going from glory to glory, from step by step, little by little, advancing. If you look back at your life and you see that you're not where you used to be 5 years ago, you changed. You look around, you realize that you have accomplished a goal or two, and things have changed and are turning around because you didn't give up, but you sought help from different areas and stumble and fail, made some wrong decisions. You're making some good decisions, but you continue to persevere. And depending who you take advice from as well, depending who you partner up with, who you rub shoulders with, who you associate with, this is a great barometer of your, and indicative of your success in life by who are the people around you, who are the friends around you, right? It's a reflection. In this reflection, it's not a silly question to ask someone who wants to be healed, but a wise one, because we all want to be healed. The truth is that nobody wants to be around sick people. When you're depressed, when you're suicidal, when you're pedantic, when things are not going well with you, when you're poor, people will tend to shun you because they themselves don't want to fall into that mindset. So it's not pleasant, it's not productive, it's not conducive. And I know, because I used to be there. I remember how I was treated. You want to get out of that condition as fast as possible, and I want to help you. Like a friend, it consoles them and is familiar to them, and they can't imagine themselves doing things differently. These wrong thoughts, these wrong habits become like a friend to us, but it's not a good friend. Why, I wonder, would someone not want to even entertain the possibility of living a different kind of life other than what you're unhappy with? I'm going to repeat that. Why would someone not want to even entertain the possibilities of living a different kind of life other than what you're unhappy with? Get rid of what you're unhappy with. Maybe we don't believe that anything else is possible. That's a lie. Everything can be worked out. I want to teach you to have a positive mindset. We all suffer from ailments, but we don't dwell on them. We act as if we don't have them. Inadequacies, faults, blunders. We can all get rid of those. That's not what we want to focus on. We're going to focus on your life. We're going to focus on your goals and abilities. We're going to focus on where you're headed in life. We're going to focus on building your path of excitement, of joy. We're going to build your path. We're going to build your career with the right mindsets so that you are going to be happy with yourself. You're going to be happy to get up every morning and to take on the day's responsibilities by being yourself and doing the things you like. I'm going to show you that, how to do that. If I have not convinced you to stop for a moment, to put this book down and to lay it beside you, to stop this recording or to ponder, I want you to make the decision today to accept yourself and the position that you're in. To say, you know what? It's okay that I feel this way. I accept it. I accept my mistakes, my faults, my infirmities. I accept my family life, what is right this second. I can't change it, but I can change my attitude toward it. And know that it will not always be that way. So I want you to give yourself a big hug. Wrap your arms around you. Kiss your hand, look in the mirror, and just say, I love you. I love you, all of you. I love my life. And say that from this day forward, I am going to rejoice each day and know that you are not alone. There's people in this universe who are thinking about you, like me writing this book, talking to you specifically as you're listening. I'm thinking of you for your change, for your health, for your prosperity. There are people who want to help you. Reach out to me. You can change